Wladimir Klitschko has posted out a number of tweets which have implied a comeback, and sometimes I don't really read into things, but this actually got me quite titillated. So, you see it on your screen now, he posted 3 tweets, all identical essentially. Let me entertain you with this, and you can like it, very nice. Push the like button, very nice. If you like, I buy. let, let me entertain you with this one, and you can like it. If you like it, I like your wife that much. Nah, come on, be serious now. Come on, serious time. Here we go. So Klitschko posted up 3 tweets. Let me entertain you with this, and you can like it or not. Wilder versus Clit. Wilder versus AJ. Wilder versus Fury 2, obviously. And the reason I found it quite interesting was because it was so like, the way he's done it, obviously, we can actually see what people want the most. And scarily enough, the highest voted one was actually Fury versus Klitschko 2, which I'm quite shocked about. And not only that, the worst one, the one that people want to see the least, was Fury versus AJ, which is, when you think about it, when you think about the numbers, like how it normally works on social media, like if I put a video out about AJ, that's going to get the most views because he's the most known. So the fact that AJ got the worst rankings on this, that shows that people really don't want to see that fight, because normally, how it would normally work is you'd have AJ would be the most naturally because people know him the most. That makes sense. But the fact it's come out that he's the least wanted, that means people really don't want to see that fight. This has gone against what we should really see, which says that people really want to see, and it's not only by a small margin either. Fury versus Klitschko 2, people want to see that 3 times more than they want to see AJ or Wilder, which is crazy. I'm surprised, to be honest, because that fight weren't interesting the first time. Very weird. I'm honestly shocked, to be honest. Maybe, to be fair, well, I'm not sure what to say. I was about to say maybe there's quite a lot of UK fans, but I'm not sure. I'm baffled. I'm honestly baffled here. It got 4 times more retweets and 4 times more likes for the Fury fight. Craziness, really. Me personally, what would I want to see? I want to see Vlad back for sure, even at 43. This man's always in the gym, he's always in shape. And you've got to realise that his style, the last 10 years, apart from the AJ whooping, he ain't taken no damage. A lot of the reason we see people slow down is taking damage. He had that blowout fight against AJ, but for the last 15 years, he hasn't even, not being funny, never mind taking damage. When was the last time you've seen Wladimir hit? Take the AJ fight out. Apart from the AJ fight, you've got to go back to 15 years ago, literally, just to see the last time he's taken a good shot. I'm not being, like I said, no one in the last 15 years, David Haye didn't give him a good shot. Show me one time David Haye hit him properly. I can't think of it. So with that in mind, he's still relatively fresh. And also, this era of heavyweights, yes, don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as weak as the Klitschko era was. That was weak. Yeah? When you've got David Big Toe up there, you know it's weak. Mr. Cruiserweight, Mr. Blown Up Cruiserweight, Mr. Achilles Heel, you know the division's weak. When you've got Haye milling around the place, Mr. Don't Want to Get Stuck In. The reason I say that is to say that, yeah, this generation isn't as weak as Klitschko's, but still, Klitschko will fit in nicely. To be fair, Klitschko at 43 would fit in nicely to any era. He's got that elite, he's got them elite genetics, he's got that elite conditioning, etc., etc. He's up there in terms, when you've got that kind of, what's the word? When you've got that kind of schooling, and when you've got that kind of, that athletic superiority, you can go in 43 as an example. Look around now. Who would you definitely take over Klitschko? Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 fighters, innit? You ain't going to take Povetkin over Klitschko now. You ain't going to take Michael Hunter over Klitschko. You're not going to take maybe Joe Joyce, maybe? That there's tough for me. Tough fight, that is. Fury versus Klitschko. I'm sorry, I'm backing Klitschko for that one. I really would, honestly. 43-year-old Klitschko versus this Fury. I'm taking Klitschko. Even Wilder versus, I'm not actually thinking about it. Who would I take over Klitschko? Dillian White over Klitschko? Really? When we saw him go life and death with Whack? We saw what Vlad did to Whack. So, in my opinion, his even at 43 is up there. The only person I wouldn't take him against is AJ, because we've already seen how that goes. But genuinely, Wilder versus Vlad, great fight. Yeah, great fight. Wilder versus Fury, great fight. Even if you think Wilder and Fury beat them, I don't think you can sit there, hand on your heart, and say it'd be an easy fight. I don't care what no one says. That there ain't an easy fight. So, I'd love to see him back. I think the division needs, to be honest with you, what the division really needs is people to get fighting. The depth, we've got a level of depth now. Joe Joyce should be in the mix now. And this is what frustrates me. You've got people like AJ, who fights Vlad, who fights Povetkin, who fights Dillian White, who will fight Usyk, who will fight Pulev. And it seems to be the reason why heavyweight boxing hasn't actually made it back to the glory days isn't because we haven't got the depth. It's because you've got one man doing all the work. Imagine, for example, that Fury and Wilder did their piece, meaning that if Fury and Wilder were doing their piece, they'd be fighting people like Chisora, Chisora, Jarrell Miller, Joe Joyce. See what I mean? Daniel Dubois. That's what they should be doing now. Whilst AJ's fighting Ruiz and Usyk, their man should be fighting Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois. See what I mean? That's how it gets exciting, because you have everyone fighting the best, and then you have the winners of that set, like the winner of. So let's assume AJ beats Usyk and Ruiz, yeah, and Pulev. Wilder should be fighting Jarrell Miller, and Fury should be fighting Dubois, and that way you've got whoever wins and loses. Maybe AJ lost to Usyk, for example. Maybe Wilder beats Dubois but loses. You know what I mean? That way you end up with the best fighting the best. But the problem is, what's happened at the moment is, what's happened now? Fury, who's he fought? No one. Wilder, who's he fought? No one. So essentially, how it happens is, AJ's the one who ends up having to fight everyone, and that's why he ends up taking a loss against Ruiz. Oh, he's a bum. Oh, he's stiff. Oh, he's a weightlifter. No, not really. What's happened is he's actually have to have tough fights. He's actually have to go in there and actually test himself time and time again and fight people with world-class, all-time great-level stats. Wilder's never fought no one with all-time great-level stats at all. Bottom line, period. Fury, he fought in 2018, hasn't got all-time great level stats. He hadn't. Maybe back in 2015 he did, but not now. He hasn't. Not that one. Not that Fury from 2018. He wasn't the same man. Fury, who's he fighting? Wallin, Schwartz. Come on. And that's what's going on here. So I sit here and I think, would Wilder even fight Klitschko? Would Fury even rematch Klitschko? He didn't want the rematch 3 years ago. Never mind now, when he's finished. And that's what makes his sport a shame, really. In reality, out of them 3 names, yes, I'd love to see the Wilder fight. Yes, I'd love to see the Fury fight. I mean, I'm not being funny. I'd take the AJ fight. I wouldn't, to be honest, out of them 3, the AJ rematch would be the last one on the list, but I'd take it. It's not a bad fight, is it? It's not a bad mixer. It's not a bad defense. It's better than, I don't know, pick someone. It's better than the Pulev fight, isn't it? In my opinion. It's more competitive than the Pulev fight. And I'd like to see if AJ can do a better job this time. Now that he's got more. He's had his career longer now. And the Klitschko fight taught him a lot. When you learn a lot in a fight, it tends not to be your better fight. You're much better once you've learnt it, do you know what I mean? Rather than learning on the job. He's now learnt them things, which he could apply for the rematch. Rather than in the thick of things, trying to pick stuff up as he was in the first fight. But anyway, interesting possibility. I'd love to see it, but these individuals, Fury and Wilder, regardless of what the fans want, these guys just goofy, man. They just don't want to really put themselves out there and risk themselves. They just want to sit back and fight people no one cares about. Ortiz. Wilder versus Klitschko should have happened instead of the Ortiz rematch. I mean, scrap that. A great name I missed on the list when I was talking about Wilder fighting Dubois or Joe Joyce. What about Dillian White? Another one AJ's fought. Why isn't Fury and Wilder fighting Dillian White? Fury and Wilder should be fighting Hunter. See what I mean? What's going on with all these names? And what you'll notice is a typical trend. AJ's the one who's going to be lining up with Hunter. Just like he lined up with Povetkin. AJ's the one who has to line up with Pulev. AJ's the one that has to line up with Usyk. AJ's the one who has to line. You watch Joyce and Dubois as well. They'll be going AJ's route. That's how it goes. I just don't get it. Well, how is it the last 5-6 fights, AJ's had to fight undefeated prospects time in, time out? What? Who's Wilder fighting? Old people, old men. No one cares about. Fury, what's he doing? There needs to be more responsibility in this sport. I feel like I'm one of the only ones who actually calls it out. I just don't. Oh, you're AJ. You're an AJ fangirl. You're an AJ fangirl. What? That's what's happening. I hate to say it. The way the division is at the moment, if anyone who's got half a brain in their head, you have to be an AJ fangirl. Because he's the only one actually taking risk and actually doing what you're supposed to do. Fighting the best opponent available. The crazy thing is, you've still got people out there today saying things like, oh yeah, we know AJ didn't want no parts of Ortiz. We know AJ didn't want no parts of Ortiz. What? Are you joking? Are you actually joking? Where were you in May last year when AJ was hunting him down, sending him $8 million offers? Where were you then? It's unbelievable, man. It proper irks me. Anyway, back on topic. I'd love to see Wilder versus Vlad. That's the fight I'd pick the most. I'm surprised people have gone for Fury, but both of them two, either one of them two, at least in that sense, have got it right, for sure. If not Wilder, I want to see Vlad versus Fury, and I'd back Vlad to beat Fury, to be honest. Vlad versus Wilder is a 50-50 fight. Vlad versus Fury, in my opinion, 75-25 in Vlad's favour.